To seek enjoyment in understanding mechanics and practicing becoming better than another player is the very basic foundation of most multiplayer shooter games' definition of fun. In fact, that principle actually applies really well in real life too, such as things like sports, studies, and creatives. But for some people, that's all they know. It becomes like their only source of dopamine and happiness. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of people saying stuff like gaming is dead, and since I've been trying out some other games too, it made me realize I've never really thought about why I put so much hours into a game and never considered why I was doing it or if I was having fun. So, hi, I am Do, and in this video, I would like to talk about my understanding of having fun in a game and some methods that I've realized I've been unintentionally doing to have fun. Going back to what I said about enjoyment in learning to become better than another being the only source of an individual ways of finding happiness, I can very much relate since I'm one of those. The very first character I became good at was Genji from Overwatch, and I've also invested massive amount of playtime to reach the second highest ranking in both Fortnite and Apex Legends. So let's start with Overwatch. Playing on a MacBook Pro at 30 FPS, I've always been insta-locking Genji until I switched to playing more hit scans during 2022. Now looking back, I've probably ruined countless people's games because I refuse to switch off, but it was like a drug. The dopamine you get whenever you perfectly land a right-click dash melee combo still is, if not the most satisfying thing I could think of in that game. Playing Overwatch for this long, I've only ever hit 5 clips so I can distinctly remember where I got more than 3 kills with a blade, and only ever once a 6k. And under those were countless failed blades where people either just simultaneously disappear whenever you blade, or you get countered so hard it actually profits your entire team. But I never stopped. Back then I had no concept of team play, and still today, or looking at macros. I only ever just wanted to frag out. I was watching so much Genji highlights, and at one point it was my entire YouTube watch history. A player that I looked up to back then was Necros, and even looking back at his own Genji clips nowadays, I would still think there are only a handful that are better than him.
Outplaying people on Genji just feels so good.
From there began my love for having the ability to be almost untouchable, and then came Fortnite. 7 years ago, I would say 1 in 3 of us were playing Fortnite. If anything, there was a hierarchy among us for how good you are at a game. You will be respected differently in schools. It was during the COVID era where I finally convinced my gaming forbidden Asian parents to give me a semi-decent PC, an Apple desktop. But none of that really mattered, for I still grinded. 140 FPS was more than I could ever ask for other than the 60 ping, and because of that I was really bad at ranked. But however, creative was a different matter. Since I always had a preference for art, I was really obsessed with watching video edits of the so-called creative warriors where they perform 6 or 7 edits in like seconds, going up and down while somehow still knowing where the opponent is and max pump them for 200. I really loved creative fights since it felt like fast-paced chess, and if you were a massive fan of free building back then, you will most certainly know the clan called Team Parallel. I wouldn't call them pioneers of creative building since most of what they did was only for the sake of flashiness, but instead artists, because some movement they were able to do was just mind-boggling even if they weren't practical at all, but it pushed the absolute boundary of what's possible in free building. Performing jumps that required the current parkour mechanics to be viable back then, and placement of build pieces in ways that are technically impossible. And finally, last but not least, Apex. Hate it or love it, this game, well, was something else. What made this game's movement mechanics so addicting for me was almost all the movements that are currently recorded about the game are exploits, as they were not intended to be part of the game due to its modified source engine from Titanfall 2, which has some serious tech in that game. So since I was also really big into learning exploits in Fortnite from the likes of such as Tfue or Martaz, there was no way in hell I was not going to learn these Apex movements. Super glide, wall bounce, fatigue wall bounce, lurching, coyote jump, mental jump, directional super glide, U bounce, you name it. And I'm gonna get hate for this, but when I first saw Neo strafing achieve my macros, I thought it was fucking cool. Unlike Fortnite where they use macros to edit faster, but somehow still loses to people like Raiders 464, but whereas Neo strafing is humanly impossible to achieve, is what made it cool for me. Well, obviously when it's using real game, I would hate it too. And that's not it. There are also people who build on the foundation of these movements and create combos like editing in Fortnite. And when they start moving, they are practically flying.
That was sick.
Oh my god.
But here comes the reality check. It's not the same every match. You won't be able to drop a 20 bomb every single game. Hell, I never did one. And you won't be able to perform at the same level every single time. And most certainly, you won't be able to be better than everyone else in every single game. Let's be honest, 80% of the time you just get, and I quote, diddled by the sweatiest, most bitchless unemployed creatures this planet has ever seen. There will always be people out there that are way better than you, as either it's their job to be that good, or they just genuinely don't have a life. Either that, or you get randoms that seems to have escaped the mental institute and somehow gained access to a PC. At this point, how is it any different from gambling? Queuing up again and again chasing that same high? I mean, come on. So, how about it's time let's try something different? This is like the idea of would you like to suffer alone or suffer together with someone you know? No matter how good they are, at least now you have someone to talk to you about the game, and better yet, now you also have a guaranteed teammate that communicates with you. It's also in the making of this video I realized the reason I put so much time into playing games was to... okay, this don't actually sound so sad. To impress friends. Fortnite was a prime example. I would sometimes hop on into creative just to spend hours practicing my aim mechanics, and because I want to be able to get complimented by the people I play with, seeking validations. Well, now it's partly true still, but less since I am somewhat better at socializing now, other than just through being good at games. I have a friend that I play games with almost every night. We first started playing Rust together, and it was after a while he introduced me to Hunt Showdown. At first, I found the game really hard, but because of my spited mindset from playing Rainbow Six Siege, I thought, wow, this game is really hard, and I want to stop struggling at it. So I got better, and it was as simple as that. The game became enjoyable almost instantaneously for me because I liked the idea of getting better at something that embarrassed me beforehand, and better yet, because I was playing with a friend, I was able to not find it too annoying even after I die. As I mentioned Hunt, there was also another method that I was unintentionally doing that made the game enjoyable for me. Running stupid loadouts. Why? Because it's funny. And it's even funnier when you get a kill with it. It's as simple as that, and I can laugh about it with my friend. Okay, back to the main theme. As we get to know each other better, well, even though it's not a justifiable reason, okay, how do I say this? Because you know it's your friend, and when you troll them, it's even funnier than trolling the randoms. So here comes the forbidden technique of making a game fun.
That's just good.
Oh, why do you set off the crows, man? So bad, this game. Okay, now you're shooting at me.
Bro! Oh my
God, with
Oh
my
God.
short Chinese dagger.
You're Dao. Is that what it is in fucking Chinese? Bro, I lost a bar. There's okay, I lost 2 bars. I'm literally 1 HP, and you set the crows. And there could be people like right there.
Now, before we get into this, no, I don't troll randoms, but unless they pissed me off or I see potential. Okay, now I just sound mentally ill, but there's literally a new name for this technique called rage baiting, so maybe I'm not the only mentally ill one. And also, I feel like this is such a human thing to do. If you tell me you've never tried to scare your parents around the corner or hide someone's stuff at least once when you were a child, I am not believing you. Because we've all at least done it once and get our ass beat for it. It's also kind of sad that as a whole generation, rage baiting is kind of normalized for us because it's such an effective way to content farm for creators. Using this very fundamental human negative bias thinking to garner attention and doing the most ridiculous stunt to get people to click. It's like the equivalent of seeing Tom and Jerry where one of them smash the other into a pancake with a mallet and we all laugh at the screen. But oh well. Who am I to criticize the current meta of creating content? Now, at the end of the day, having fun really depends on how you play. And on an unrelated note, after doing some digging, the majority of the people who are saying gaming is dead are the people who only plays mainstream games, so how about let's leave that job to the pattern recognition department. Thank you so much for watching until the end and hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am sorry I haven't posted for almost 4 months now, believe me, I was really trying, but things just keep on popping up and piling on. I got my finals coming up and some other stuff to finish outside of school, but never mind that. I'm also streaming now on Twitch, if you didn't know already, on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday nights at 7 PM GMT, so if you guys have nothing to do, please come pop in and say hello if you can. And finally again, thanks for watching. If you wish to support me, a like and a sub would be plenty, and I'll see you guys later.